Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to Wingate Solutions. I hope you're doing well. I'm out in the woods today, kind of just doing a quick training session. So I figured I'd bring you along, make a quick video out of it. Anyway, let's get into it. All right, guys. So it's a little cold. I think winter officially has started in PA. It's our second, little bit of snow we've had. We had a good snowstorm last week, and now we just had a cold front roll in where it's a little chilly out now, and everything's kind of getting frozen and turning into the tundra pretty early this year. I love it. I love being out in the woods this time of year. But anyway, got some wind blowing through today, so hopefully it doesn't mess with the mic too bad. These things are kind of cheap, but I think they do well enough for what I paid for them, so hopefully they can hold up. But anyway, we'll see how long I can be out here until my hands start getting numb. I just hate shooting with gloves on and big coats, so I took it off for a little bit. I really hate shooting with gloves. I will when I have to, but it's just not my thing. Anyway, shooting the SPR 18-inch today, kind of testing out still this 18-inch Odin Works 3-gun profile barrel. It's rifle length 18-inch, and this Arken LH-4 4-16. I just did kind of an intro video on it recently, so if you didn't check that out, go ahead and check that out. I'm going to be featuring this a little more on the channel as I am putting it through its paces. So far, I really like it. Today, I'm going to be using it with a little more close shooting in mind. So some of you guys know I'm a big fan of shooting magnified optics. I like my general purpose carbines to be set up with magnification and some flavor of 1x, whether that's an LPVO or a dot on top. I just like being able to reach out and touch things, positively ID at distance, and just general usefulness of a carbine for like homestead purposes. I'm going to be running this thing a little closer up today, like 30 to 50 yards, just hitting some steel. Kind of a real low-key range session today, just to see how I feel about it. Because to me, a magnified optic needs to be able to be run at varying distances, not just be special purpose for like long distance. I like a gun that I can, run and gun up close with. So that's what I'm gonna be doing today, testing this thing out, just on some steel and having a good time. Hopefully we learn something from it. Oh yeah, I know I said I was going to be doing some more suppressor related content, things like that, and that is still on my list. Today's just a random me out here shooting, so I figured I'd bring you guys along. But I will be starting up the suppressor series again, so stay tuned for that. I've just been busy a little bit lately, so I want to give it the time it deserves. Bring you guys some more like thorough content when it comes to suppressors, things like that. But anyway, guys, let's get to shooting. So I'm just going to do some simple transition drills, like target transitions with the rifle. I have 2 pieces of steel, about 30 yards, so pretty close, and they're about 15 yards spread between them. So I'm going to send 1 round each and just see how this thing does, field of view, eye box, that sort of thing, at close distance with that 4 power on the low end, to see if I still can kind of run it with a little bit of urgency. But I'm just kind of doing it for fun. I'm not doing it under time or anything like that. But anyway, let's do it. I'll do a couple with the dot on top too, just for my benefit. But all right, let's see how this thing feels. All right, that was just 1 there. Now I'll do those transitions, 1 left to right. So 4 power is definitely a little bit for this distance, especially because I can't see both targets in that field of view. Obviously, there's a pretty good spread between them. So it's kind of challenging to go left to right, being a right-handed shooter, because I don't have as much peripheral view. It'll be a lot easier, I think, going left to from right to left. So we'll try that real quick and see how that feels. Yeah, a lot easier because you can still pick up that next target with your left eye. And that's kind of the downfall of running anything over like 2, 2.5 up close. You start to lose a little bit of your world, especially if you're sucked into that magnification. But anyway, less talking, more shooting. Let's do that again. Cool. Not too bad. I'm going to do 1 with the dot on top. That was a little janky. Yeah, my hands are a little cold. This is when I start losing dexterity. But that's cool. It's all part of the fun. Let's see how it feels shooting multiple rounds under magnification. I'm going to do that for a second. Not bad. Once you get the target within the crosshair, as long as you have good recoil management and your gun isn't like crazy overgassed, like it is just a 5.56 at the end of the day, it's not hard just to keep it within that reticle. All right. Again, I don't have the timer, but just for my purpose, I'm going to do a bill drill right now. 30 yards, C-zone steel. Just see how it feels under recoil shooting multiple rounds with 4x magnification like this with this optic. Let's do it. Yeah, not too bad. I mean, it's definitely something to get used to. I'm not used to running that much magnification up close. So yeah, still Arken, if you watch these things, come out with a 2 to 12. That'd be awesome. But 4 power, I think, still gets the job done. Honestly, I'd be using my red dot at most of these distances anyway, but I still want to push this thing and see what it can do. All right, I'm going to run this thing on the Barricade for a minute, see how it does as far as finding that reticle, getting in that eye box on a little bit of unconventional positions. I'm not going to do too many today. I'm not going to go all the way up and down just because of where I have this Barricade. I don't think I can see the target from the lower ones just because of the slope of the hill I have right here. So we'll just do a few positions, kind of testing how quick I can get on this eye box on the reticle, see how it feels, that sort of thing. All right, let's get into it. I don't know what happened to that one. Oh no, I'm out. Cool. So I can say impressions of this shooting on the Barricade at 50, 60 yards, wherever I'm at. I like it. It has a decent field of view, even at 4X, that I can still PID the target, the specific target I'm trying to find. Moving from position to position, sometimes that can be tricky, and allowing me to see through some of the foliage that's in front of this, because I kind of just threw this thing down here. I need to cut some of these small saplings down now that it's wintertime. It's like the perfect time to do some range maintenance. Anyway, being able to see through that and make sure I'm not going to be shooting something between me and the piece of steel, it kind of allows me to see through things a little better. It's another reason why I just love having a little bit of magnification. So cool. I still wish this thing was a 2 to 12, but 4 power on this for this style of shooting, I'm pretty satisfied with it. So, all right, let's move on to something else. So I kind of said this was gonna be a random impromptu range video, and definitely is. I brought out my Ruger American 22 bolt action just for some cheap fun, and it still is a good training tool. If you guys don't have a 22 to train with, I recommend getting one, whether it's like an actual AR-22 or a Ruger 10-22. 22 pistols are awesome. Even bolt gun 22 is just a lot of fun. And if you pair them up with a 22 suppressor, you really can't get much more fun than that. It's like BB gun quiet. It's pretty awesome. So run this with that dead air mask. It just has a little vortex, I think 4 to 12 on it. So we'll see how this thing does at 4X. Not quite as good as that Arken. This is a little bit older of a, I think it's a Crossfire 4 to 12, I think. 1-inch tube, but it's just a fun 22 to shoot. So I'm going to run this on the Barricade for a few rounds just for the heck of it. Hopefully I can get some shots through some of these saplings here. Not to make excuses. I think for the most part I'm pretty good too. Unless there's one I definitely clip a tree on. If I miss, it's just straight up on me. This thing's a tack driver anyway, so I really have no excuse to be messing with it. But anyway, we'll run this for a second. I don't even need ears for this one, so I'll pull those off. it's just ridiculously quiet. So if you guys are new to suppressors, and I know I'm going to put out way more content on this in the future, but here's a little thing. If you're shopping around for your first one for like a centerfire rifle, don't go into it and be disappointed when you realize that they're really not as quiet as you think they're going to be. Supersonic rounds are just not going to be quiet, particularly on something like an AR. There's just like no way to make them quiet unless you're running a 300 blackout with subs. They can be pretty dang quiet. But if you're looking at getting like a 5.56 type can or a can to run on a 5.56 gun, you know, you might want to get a 30 cal can and use it on different platforms, that sort of thing. Don't be disappointed when you realize they're not as quiet. So if you have buddies that have them, go out and shoot them. Maybe go to a range that has NFA items. Try out a few, just so you have a little bit of understanding. They're not Hollywood quiet like everyone thinks they are, with the exception of 22s. 22s are ridiculously quiet. So there's that. Let's do some shooting. Cool. This is gonna be fun. This isn't something I normally run on a Barricade. Cool. Yeah, this thing's awesome. If you can't tell, it's a hell of a lot of fun. It gives you training on running a bolt gun. Not the same, not quite the same. It doesn't have the same throw as like a short action does or anything like that. It's a real short throw because it's 22, but a lot of fun and really cost-effective training option. You know, you don't have to go quite as fancy. You don't have to get a can for it. You can get a real cheap 22, throw a real cheap red dot or scope on it, and you're not shooting, or you're not spending a lot of money shooting it then just to train, especially if you're newer into firearms and you don't have a lot of 5.56 or centerfire type ammo, and you don't want to use it all up because it is expensive, or you're waiting to use it at a class where you're gonna get a ton of training value out of it. When you're on your own and you're getting up to, you know, camp, or you're going to the range, wherever you get to shoot, I know some of us are a little more blessed than others. I know some of you guys don't have outdoor ranges you can get to and actually train. But if you can, a 22 you can get a lot of training value out of, especially marksmanship skills. You don't have to be running a gun or, you know, doing barricade stuff like this. Even just standard marksmanship, you know, learning to run a trigger, learning to use sights, all that stuff really can be accomplished with a 22. So there's that for you guys. I love this thing. I need to use these a little more. So maybe I'll bust the 22s out for some future videos. All right. So some next impressions on this thing. I really like it so far. I wasn't sure how I would like the reticle at 4X. I thought it might be a little fine, but I really do think they designed it really well. Has those heavy stadia lines on the outsides at the 3, 6, and 9 that draw you to the middle. And then the reticle is definitely fine, but it's not hard to bracket your target, and you do pick up on that reticle, especially if you have it adjusted appropriately for your eye, that sort of thing. I really actually like this at 4X for what it is. I still want this thing to come in a 2 to 10 flavor, or 2 to 12 flavor, but I really like that. I have no problems with that at all. It does have a real nice field of view. Eye box is not that sensitive, especially if you have this scope at the appropriate distance from your eye. A lot of guys run these things way too far forward, and then can see how you definitely could have an eye box issue, especially as you crank it up to like 16 power, because you have your scope too far forward. So definitely consider bringing that scope a little further back. You should be able to find natural point of aim from different positions. Close your eyes as you're getting down into the cheek weld. Open your eyes, and you should have a good field of view. If you need to adjust your face to get into the eye box, the scope's probably not in the right position, or you're not consistent with your cheek weld and your stock placement. So just something to think about there. Make sure these things are mounted where they should be. For right here, as I start bringing my face back, we're talking all the way to the back of the stock, I'm now starting to see the dark edges come in. Right here is perfect for me, and then obviously if I was a little closer, it's still going to work, but it's kind of sweet spot right here for me. As I crank this thing up, I still have the entire field of view, the entire eye box. I'm not losing that eye box because I don't have this thing adjusted appropriately. So something to think about for you guys. I'm gonna do another rep on this Barricade with this bad boy. Eyes and ears would help. Oh yeah, I'm cold. Oh yeah, my hands are freezing. And I'm out. Yeah, she runs pretty good. All right, so I'm gonna do a few more rounds at like 30 yards on steel, just to see how this thing feels. This is a pretty long gun at this point, being an 18-inch with a can. That's why typically, if I'm gonna run suppressed magnified rifles like this, I usually like a 16, just because it's a little handier. But 18 with this YHM Turbo K is not that bad. It's just a little long. Even though it's a pretty short can, I think it sounds pretty good on here too, and it's pretty well gassed, where it's not it's definitely not over gassed. It shoots pretty good, suppressed and unsuppressed so far. So that's a good thing for this Odinworks barrel. But anyway, let's do a few more rounds. Yeah, it's not bad. Hopefully you guys have a decent angle. I'll move you a little bit. Let's do like right there. Cool. All right, I'm gonna finish up with a little bit of pistol shooting. Now it's a little cold out, and I probably should have done this first because now my hands are frozen, but see how I do. You can't always pick and choose when you have to draw and use your handgun, so not a bad thing to do when your hands are a little cold as well, as long as you're being safe. But anyway, I'm not too far from these pieces of steel. I'm just gonna get some reps in just for fun. I got an array of targets up the hill, so hopefully you guys hear some dings, because that means I'm not missing. Anyway, let's do it. Oh yeah, that's cold. It's hard to reload when you start losing dexterity. It's a hard target to hit, one in the center there. All right, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap this one up. I really appreciate you watching all the way through. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, comment down below. I enjoy reading it. Share it with your buddies, any of that good stuff, anything that can help grow the channel. And if you have anything specific that you want me to put out, throw it down in the comments. If you want to support us in any other way, some of you guys know I have a very small at-home business. My wife and I started Wingate Solutions, LLC. We have a website. We make handmade rifle slings, sling retention straps, we have holster leg straps, and some other stuff coming down the pipeline for you guys. So if you want to support us that way, you want to get yourself some gear, go ahead and check us out. Go over to the website, and also check us out on Instagram at Wingate Solutions. Go over there, check us out. I appreciate you guys. Till next time, get out and train.